Hey again, everybody. The off arm is your non-throwing arm, and you'll see in a lot of high-level form that there are different styles to using this arm, but they all share a couple of features in common. The idea is to help collect the hips forward with your shoulders protracted toward the target and increase that centripetal force on the disc by reducing your moment of inertia. So we'll review how that move should look, and we'll talk about a couple of different stylistic variations and some common pitfalls in this move.
Immediately after your weight shift occurs, the off-arm elbow will be driving targetward, helping to collect the hips and accelerate rotation of the upper body at a lag to that weight shift. With the shoulders protracted and head and shoulder separation caused by the curve in your spine, this contributes a significant increase to the potential speed of the disc as it enters the hit and launches toward the target. So the key with any off-arm move is not to spill the beverage. You'll move the elbow in toward the hips, and you can imagine or actually hold a glass in front of your torso and attempt to keep that beverage nicely balanced in front of you as you move the upper body. Your shoulder should remain protracted, meaning forward, and this puts you in the correct position to maintain balance and optimal musculature during the kinematic sequence. So I suggest just getting used to this very basic motion, moving the elbow in and out. And as you shift the weight forward into the plant step, you should feel a moment where collecting that elbow in will assist the rotation to the swing. So it'll naturally accelerate you toward the target. And it shouldn't require a lot of exertion. It's just moving the elbow in. And as you pass through, you will start to swim through. That counter rotation, again, assists the lag process, placing additional late acceleration on the disc, stopping the body behind so that the disc can move forward optimally as force moves up the kinematic chain into the shoulder and arm. Your swim style and positions can vary, so even though I use a variant of the don't spill the beverage move, my hand tends to track a bit low from where I first learned the move. It just felt a bit more ergonomic for me, but you can try different exact positions out. You'll see some pros, Simon Lizotte and others, will come into this elbow wide out position, but if you watch closely, that elbow is still collecting laterally in toward the hip before moving through counter rotation. So just practice this motion until it's fluid and nice and compact throughout your swing. Nice and easy. So again, with a glass or an imaginary glass in the hand, your timing is your balance. And so we want to ensure that as your weight is shifting forward toward the target, that elbow is just collecting in with that shoulder protracted as a nice, easy part of the swing. You can practice bowling through and forward, so extending the arm out and forward toward the target. You should feel it help again sweep that torso behind the weight shift toward that target. Back and forth, back and forth. And if you start to swing the disc down with the closed shoulder, you'll feel a moment where that off arm should collect with the elbow in. So you can either do spill the beverage, move it low, bowl through, try different versions of that swing with the off arm until it's feeling natural to you to swing through. Kind of a little bit more zip to it. So the key here is you need to feel a pendulum motion assisting that weight targetward. My drive leg is pushing my weight into the plant leg. That off arm is helping collect those hips. And so you can extend different ranges of motion, rock with the elbow tight back and forth, extend it out, pull it through. You want to be able to go through any range of motion with this off arm, which will help get you more optimal control and balance throughout your backhand swing. And you can do it with and without the hand on a disc. We can drive it much harder here. So here I'm overemphasizing it just so that you can help get the feel for it. So really push in toward that plant foot and brace. Really get those hips moving laterally toward the target. Again, I keep saying laterally because we want everything moving in a line toward the target, and that rotation is a consequence of your posture and your balance and adding these additional steps, including the off arm. Even more oomph, you'll see here now just by moving laterally because of the way I'm postured, It's starting to drive my hips to open out toward the target. And as I keep adding a bit more and more from that drive leg and the off arm, it gets easier and easier for my body to pivot through and past the brace, and we get easy power into the disc this way. And so as you add components, again, we're always smoothing it out. So without even releasing the disc, just move through a path like this, feel that off arm assist. Let's loosen up again, dangle those dingle arms. And now we're going to swing in the same way without the disc in hand, and what I call the weeping willow drill. So just let both arms dangle, and we're going to do the exact same motion, and we're going to let that rear arm, that off arm, collect our weight toward the hip. And we want to be nice and loose throughout the entire body, just maintaining balance. Now let's slash the entire planet. Using that weight drop that we've learned in previous modules, so dropping your weight back into that heel, put your arm in an up position and have that weight shift from behind you. So as that hand is chopping high, the weight should shift and pull the front hand down in a chop. And what I want you to do with the off arm is just feel that moment when you can accelerate that hand down toward the earth by collecting that elbow in. And you can slow it down like this to find the optimal timing and plane of attack. Back and forth, back and forth. Slash the planet. Slash the planet. So let's review 3 moves for the off arm, 3 types of swim moves. This is the swim. This is not spilling the beverage, so allowing that elbow to collect in. Your hand might start in the posture as though holding a glass in front of your tummy, and it will fall through into counter rotation. The exact level can vary again. So here from the side, move into the backswing, off arm collects the elbow in. Nice, easy swim through. Nice, easy swim through. Elbow collects in, swim through. Lateral move with counter rotation and follow through. The punch, sometimes you'll see this on players like Simon Lizotte. Elbow still collects in. Watch him closely. Elbow will collect in, and then that fist, that punch move, is still a counter rotation move as he's got that elbow tight into his hip, driving them laterally forward. And then that fist is clearing through and punching down toward the ground, but in counter rotation. So there's absolutely no direct punch toward the earth. It's riding along after the elbow collects to the hip and then counter rotating through. So here again from the side, elbows out, elbows in, punch, counter rotation through. And again, in all of these moves, just watch how my shoulders stay nice and protracted. I'm not really clenching up anywhere. I'm just finding that natural balance moment where the elbow should come in, assist that swing forward, and again, you get easy additional acceleration. The counter rotation assisting that acceleration by stalling out that back half of your body and allowing the force to go up the chain. Now the chop, the Swedish move, sometimes the Finnish move. Garrett Gurthey, Paige Pierce are players that use this move famously. You can start it quite high, but the end result is exactly the same as the other moves. That elbow collects in at that key moment where you feel balance maintaining, and it's time to collect those hips toward the target to accelerate the swing. Some players end up with this swim move chopping and ending up a bit behind them immediately. Some chop down and end up with it a bit more forward, like I'm illustrating here. Whatever the exact variant, again, the key is you want to collect the elbow in, just like this. So you can see that it's essentially causing the same swing motion as the other moves. It's actually keeping the shoulders a bit wider out, so you'll see players like Gurthey get a much wider swing angle, which presumably contributes to some of his power. So you might find this more natural to start with. Check the comments for another variant of a leveraging swim move. A few common misconceptions that are worth talking about. Okay, so one way or another, a lot of players misinterpret the swim move and end up sort of rotating through their lumbar region and pulling the shoulders in a swing toward the target. So it will accelerate the swing, but it's much weaker than collecting, as is overreaching for the pocket. So this is commonly given as advice. And you can see right away that if I'm literally taking this advice, what's going to happen is I'm trying to get, money or my wallet out of that pocket, and it's pulling my spine forward and off axis too early. I haven't collected the hips forward behind the weight shift, and I'm going to tend to open my shoulder out, which we don't want. And some people look at players like Lazat and interpret that as a sort of punch straight toward the earth. And again, you can see here as I exaggerate it, it's pulling my front shoulder off axis. I'm not getting a lot of power through the hips and through the spine and the core. Really just not the optimal move. Hey, have fun. Go find your swim move.